wide receiver fundamentals, wide receiver play. Certainly appreciate your time, Coach. And if guys have questions along the way, is it okay if they just pop on their mics and ask away?
Absolutely, yeah. And then we'll open it up for questions at the end, too, if anyone's got anything.
Perfect. Sounds good, man. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Coach. It's an honor to be on. It's good to be on with some Maine high school football coaches. It's been good getting to know you guys over the last couple of years. I've been at UNE about 2 years now, and it's been an exciting ride. But today we're just going to talk some of the basic wide receiver fundamentals that we teach our guys on a daily basis to try and give them the best tools they can to succeed on the field. All right. So first and foremost, we'll start with the position philosophy. So for me, there's 3 ways in which I look at, especially in recruiting and things like that, what we want out of a wide receiver. We want production, discipline, and toughness. Then there's those things underneath there. So in production, my biggest thing, I wasn't a wide receiver. I was an offensive lineman, and Coach Gold can attest to it. I was an offensive and defensive lineman. Blocking is something that we hang our hat on. All right, we are going to be unselfish guys on the perimeter. We're going to make sure that we have the ability to throw blocks and give our guys two-way goes on the perimeter. All right, playmaking. We put a lot of faith in our guys to win one-on-one matchups. We have a quarterback who's one of the best in New England and maybe even one of the best at our level who can put the ball in places that other guys just can't. So we put a lot of faith in our guys to go win one-on-one matchups against corner safeties and outside linebackers. All right, work away from the play. Now this one I toss around with a little bit because there's some things where we're sprinting out or we're booting away where we give those guys kind of a breather on the backside. So whether it's save their legs or something like that, but there's always that thing where you want to throw a block away from the play that just in case the cutback comes, now he's got no one to worry about. So we want to constantly be trying to find work away from the play. Discipline. Alignment, we've gotten in, especially this offseason, as we've had a little bit more time on our hands, and we've dove into our offense, and we've said we want to be more of a team that can throw a lot of personnels and formations at you and do a lot of the same things, but it looks different because we're doing it from different ways. Well, we got to have the discipline to be able to align correctly on every play, and we also have to have the discipline to run the correct assignment. All right. So like I said, we're aligning in a lot of different formations and moving around a lot, but we're essentially running the same, 5-6 concepts out of these different looks. So it makes it tough on defensive coordinators when they're looking on film every week. They're saying, wow, they're running the same thing, but it's 12 different formations and they got guys coming from all over and they're motioning and they're shifting. We're going to try and throw guys off that way, but we have to know our assignment on every play. And then ball security. At the end of the day, if you can't protect the football, you can't play wide receiver at UNE, and you probably can't play a ball carrier position just about anywhere. All right. And then toughness. All right. Mental and physical toughness. The mental toughness side, not letting guys get in your head and force us to make stupid mistakes, whether it's penalties or just being overly aggressive and things like that. And then being physical. All right. I talked about it. I'm going to hang my hat on blocking guy on the perimeter. We're going to be physical on the perimeter. We're going to fire our hands. We're going to throw our screws in you. Probably not allowed to say that anymore, but we're going to get physical on the perimeter. All right. So here's one look at just how we, have faith in our guys to go win these one-on-one matchups. All right. This is the first game of the year. This is Coast Guard Academy. This is the first drive. All right. And we're saying we've got a play called. We've got access here on the backside where we're taking a single receiver matchup and the quarterback's giving him a signal. All right. We're putting faith in him as soon as the season opens up. We're saying, listen, go catch this one-on-one back shoulder and let's go start the season off right. He does a great job creating space for himself. He wins a one-on-one matchup to start the season. Heck of a way to start the year. All right. So now we get into some more of the nitty-gritty and the actual fundamentals of it. So our stance. All right. We're going to give ourselves, or at least try to give ourselves, as best a base as possible, and then adjust based on what we're getting in front of us. So our base, our inside foot's always going to be up. Our legs are going to be shoulder width, so we have a solid foundation underneath us. All right. Our front toe is going to be pointed straight forward unless I see a guy having some balance issues. If he's having some issues, you're trying to adjust his stance straight and he's kind of got this wobble or this lean to him. All right. Then we take his front foot and we put a slight tilt to it. gives them a little bit more surface area to be able to balance off of. And it's worked with a couple of our guys so far. All right. Both knees should be bent. There's not a situation where I want to be straight legged or straight up and down. I want both my knees to be bent. I want my shoulders over my toes, all right, and pressing my chest to my thigh board, all right? So I want to be nice and relaxed, all right, nice in a low position to where I can fire out of this base of our stance, all right? So then we talk about a couple different looks that we're going to get, all right? So against off coverage, we're gonna adjust our stance based on where the corner's at, if he's in our face or if he's off. So if I've got some space, I've got that corner, he's playing off in a third or a quarter or whatever, he's playing about 7-8 yards. All right, I'm gonna change my weight distribution to where there's gonna be 80% of my weight on my front foot and about 20% on my back foot. And the way I say to these guys to pick up that back foot, you should be able to just a slight rock forward and pick that thing up. Most of your weight is on that front foot. You should be able to pick up that back foot relatively easy, all right? And my arms are down in a relaxed position, some down by my side. I'm not huge on that one. We have a lot of guys, all these guys are trying to copy, what the NFL guys are doing, and OBJ does that thing where he crosses his arms when he's in a relaxed stance. I don't really harp on it all that much, whatever's comfortable for them. If they want to cross those arms, fine. If they want to put those arms down by their side, fine. If they always want to have their arms up, that's fine. All right. Now against press coverage, all right. Now we got a quarterback in our grill. He's trying to start a street fight. All right. So my back leg's going to move up slightly. All right. I'm going to change my weight distribution to 60-40 to where now I'm more balanced. And now I've got my arms up. I'm in a boxing match now, all right? It comes down to it. We're fighting off the ball. We haven't seen probably since the first year we played games a true team that was hardcore pressing. We've seen press corners, but Husson 2 years ago did this thing to us where they were just so far in our grill that we were having to start a street fight just to get off the line. So we want to be prepared for that. We don't want to have to reset our arms straight up and then have to go try and fight off his hands. All right, I want him up there ready to fight and ready to go. All right. Starts. All right. So obviously when we're getting off the ball, we want to get off the ball in the most efficient way possible. All right. So how do we do that? That's no false steps. All right. So whether it's my front foot or my back foot, and me and Coach Vile have kind of had this conversation of, there's always going to be kind of that load up of I'm getting off the ball. But what I really want to avoid in the false steps is resetting either my front or my back foot. Once they're set, they're in place. It's okay to kind of get that rock back to create a little bit of momentum, but I don't want to have to reset one or the other because then I'm just wasting time, then I'm wasting energy, and I'm not getting off the ball as efficient as possible. All right. And in the same deal, I want to stay on the same level as I come off the ball. All right. I don't want to rise up and give the DB if I got a press corner. I don't want to give him my chest. I don't want to sink too low to where I'm running kind of awkwardly. I'm in that comfortable, that nice low. My hips aren't dropping. They're not rising up. I'm in that comfortable place. All right. My front foot is my drive foot. My back foot is my speed foot. All right. So I'm trying to roll off that front foot and drive out of it. And at the same deal, I'm trying to generate speed by pushing off that back foot to try and engage and get going. All right. Again, I want to keep my pad level low. My back flat. My back is flat, and I'm hiding the numbers from the DB. All right. So I'm not running straight up and down. I'm not giving him my chest. All right. So that I have to continually fight him off. All right. I'm nice and low. I'm hiding. My back's flat. I'm in a nice low stance, and that's where I'm making all my cuts and all my breaks. All right. I want to drive my arms into legs. All right, one big teach tape, one of the drills that we do just to kind of get warmed up is we do a simple box drill. And one of the things that I emphasize, and I actually got this from my brother, is as we're getting into our breaks, we want to beat the drums. All right, making sure we're emphasizing the pumping of those arms. All right, so I'm driving my arms into my legs. I'm driving my knees. I'm driving my arms. And as I come into those breaks and as I'm getting off the ball, I got to kickstart those arms to get myself moving. All right. I have to be able to read the DB's body language. All right, eyes up. Now, on each concept, you're going to be getting to a different place. Where as an outside guy, most of the time you're going to be running vertical with the exception of times you're staying in the flat. All right, but I need to be able to read the DB's body language. And that's going to tell me how I'm going to get into the next phase, which is my releases. So my eyes have to be up. Is he playing cover 2, and is he trying to funnel me back to the inside within a 5-yard depth? Is he playing off, and are his eyes to the inside? Is there any kind of rotation coming over the top, or is that kid just playing an off-catch man technique? All right, our eyes have to be up to see what we're getting on each individual play. And then in the same sense, unless I'm just showing my numbers to the quarterback, I want to have a downfield demeanor every play. All right, so every route, whether it's a corner, whether it's a post, whether it's a dig, whether it's a fade, whether it's a speed out, whatever it is, it's a downfield demeanor until I get to that break point. All right, so there's nothing that's tipping anyone that I'm breaking until I get to that spot. There should be no change in level. There should be no change in how my arms and my legs are moving. All right, I'm in a downfield demeanor. I am running vertical until I'm not. All right, our releases. All right, so speed release, whether we have press or we have space. All right, we want to take a 45-degree step, aiming 1 by 1 outside the defensive back. All right, these are our deals where we're trying to get outside. We're trying to take a speed release outside this guy. All right, when I'm level with the DB, I want to rip with my inside shoulder, and this is really when he's starting to throw hands into you. I want to rip with my inside arm, and then I also want to pop change. So I want to pop his arm out and change his trajectory by throwing something into his chest. All right, continuously working his hands off of me if he's going to stay with and ride his inside arm on my shoulder. All right. And in the same deal, we want to reduce the surface area. All right. So in making these movements where I'm ripping with my inside or I'm swiping and popping to change, all right, I want to be able to not waste movement. So I'm not going crazily out wide and throwing my arms all which directions to try and fight this. All right. I'm just moving it subtly. All right. It's within my frame, so I'm not exonerating more energy than I truly have. And with a lot of our guys who play high reps in a game, this is something that we truly focus on. All right. And the goal is to get behind the DB and stack him. All right. We want to get back to our landmarks. So if we're running a vertical concept and my landmark's bottom of the numbers, and I've on my speed release, I've gotten outside of him. I'm even with him. I'm in a position where I'm beating him with speed. I got to work back to my landmark. All right. And Coach Vile, being a quarterbacks guy, he can attest to this. The more space that we have to be able to throw that ball out there, the better. All right. We want to be able to get back to our landmark, to use all that space and not be too far outside my landmark where we're not giving the quarterback a place to put the football. All right. And then my single move, all right, against press, all right, we're going to take a come to balance step. All right. And I've done a lot of research on this stuff here in the last couple of weeks. Come to balance when we're doing these things, whether it's a foot fire or just coming to balance, we want to get a base underneath us. That is the first thing that we want to do. All right. A lot of these guys, when they do these moves, whether it's a single move or a double, or they're trying to foot fire, they're coming off the ball and they're incredibly vertical. And then the only way that they have to change direction is then to reset their base to a solid foundation and then burst out. We don't want to ever get high and skinny and have my legs straight up and down. I want to have a base the entire time. All right. So I'm going to take my come to balance step. Whereas you see Larry Fitz right there, he's got a great solid foundation underneath him. All right. I want to foot press the opposite side of the release. So if I'm going outside, I just want to take a simple, eyes and one step inside. That's all I'm looking to do. I'm looking to get my eyes. I'm trying to move him off of his landmark. All right. A shoulder and a head fake. Simple as that. All right. The eyes tell the true story. All right. If I'm just kind of going like this, but I'm looking to the outside, but I'm faking in here, he's just going to take a step back and play with you. But if you sell it with your eyes, it's truly going to make him move off of his landmark and dive inside. All right. The outside arm attacks the DB's outside arm. All right. Pretty self-explanatory. And I actually think my picture here jacked up and covered up one of my deals. That's okay, is what it is. All right. All right. So then we move on to more of the release phase in foot fire, double move, and a best possible release. So again, in my foot fire, all right, we can use it with any release. All right. After you come to balance step, all right, gain ground and fire the feet towards the DB's toes. So now I'm trying to eat up a little bit of cushion. All right. I'm not skinny, just firing my feet in tight. I've got a base underneath me. I'm firing those things side to side, all right, and I'm eating up ground at the same time. So this isn't something that I'm doing static at the line of scrimmage. I'm actually moving forward and gaining ground. All right. The foot fire, like we just talked about, can be used to eat up cushion, to attack leverage, and to change release. All right. So you can do it as a guy in the slot, or you can do it as a guy on the outside. A guy in the slot is going to do it more to stem an outside linebacker. Whereas if you got a press corner on the outside, you're just trying to move him off his landmark, so your vertical release is a little bit easier. All right. My double move, all right, against the press. All right. Similar to a single move, all right? Initial foot press is intended to the release side, then work opposite before release. So out, in, out, whatever the deal is. One of the ones that we use a lot is the sluggo. So it's a 1x3 slant for us, all right? So it's a little bit longer of a deal, but it's one step vertical. Now I'm 3 steps to sell the slant to try and get that corner to collapse with me, all right? And then I can throw by and burst out and get back to my out. All right, so there's a lot of different ones that we do the sluggo, we do the speed out and up, we do a couple of those double moves, and we've had some success on. All right, then our best release, all right, with space, all right, our speed release, and we're aiming for the outside shoulder of the DB. All right, we want to read his technique. Is he soft shoulder? Take the outside release. All right, is he hard shoulder? Take the inside release and try and work back to my landmark. So what we teach is the lean, and then if there's anything in breaking, a lot of what we do is just a chicken wing detachment, where I'm creating a little bit of space. I'm not getting full extension, but I'm creating a little bit of space by using this chicken wing in at my side. All right. So then we talk about stemming. All right. Stemming allows the receiver to gain an advantage over a defender's leverage. All right. So this can be done at second level and third level based on what the deal is. So if I'm stemming a second defender, all right, it allows us to take a cleaner path off the ball. So you see this little diagram that I drew up over here to the right. We'll pretend that this is a slot receiver. We got the ball is over here inside our logo, all right, and this is an alley defender who's playing a little bit tighter, all right. So we'll just say this is a vertical concept. Our vertical landmark for a guy inside is +2 outside the hash. All right, so we'll say this is my landmark here. Well, teams that we play like Coast Guard, they love to expand those alleys, and they love to reroute number 2. Well, we got to try and take my cleanest path through the second level. So the best way, if he's an inside leverage guy, all right, I'm going to push straight to his inside hip. All right, he's going to hold, probably throw a couple hands to try and disrupt and help those third level guys. All right. But I'm just pushing at his inside hip to hold him off my landmark so that I can win easily and clear his hands off me right up my landmark. All right. And vice versa. If he's going to play head up to outside leverage, it might be best to push to his outside hip. It's all going to be based on how each alley defender plays it week to week. All right. The objective, we're trying to hold and expand defenders off of our landmark dictated by the concept. All right. And the ones that give us the most issues are those physical outside linebackers who are just trying to reroute and help the safeties behind them. All right. We had a little bit of trouble with that in the slot this year, and the guys have gotten a lot better, and we're working towards doing it. But we also can stem defenders at the third level. All right. So we talk about trying to use a defender's leverage against him. All right, so we'll take a look up here at the top of the screen at my guy, number 8, Kobe Johnson. All right, he's got a corner who is refusing the inside release. All right, he is holding his inside leverage. He's off at about 5-6 yards. All right, and Kobe's running a post here. All right, so Kobe has got to do whatever he can to try and get that DB to move off that landmark or to open his hips to the sideline. So he's going to push to his outside hip here. So he gets to the top of the route. He's expanded slightly. He's gotten that corner to commit. He's opened his hips to the sideline. He's in a position where there's no way he can come back and play the middle of the field. There's also rotation away from that hash, right? They're getting one safety who is on the boundary hash to the middle of the field and one who's going to the field, and it becomes a roll cover 3 deal. All right, so Kobe does a great job selling to that outside hip. Bang, is sudden with his step, puts it in the ground. I'll reset that so we can see it again, full speed. All right, sells to the outside hip, gets that defender to commit, wins through his inside hip, and now he's undefendable. Now he's got no help. That safety's rolled to the middle of the field, all right, and becomes a big play for us, all right? So he got that defender to commit to the sideline, and boom, he wins through his inside hip and takes advantage of the space. He stemmed him off his landmark. All right, now same deal. This is a corner concept that was really successful for us this year in this area of the field, all right, and they're playing man coverage. All right, so I've got this, whoever this is, a pushed out alley or a safety who's rolled down in the window, who's playing man coverage over top of number 3. All right, so number 3's on the ball. He's going to take a path to where he's going to cut the distance in half and take a path right at that back pylon. Now, it's what he does in this route, and this is probably my favorite route from this last season, is really great at the top, all right? So he gets outside this kid initially, all right? And he leans into him here at the top and gets to a stacked position, all right? Making it really hard for that kid. We know he's breaking to the corner, then bang, puts his foot in the ground and goes and catches a touchdown in the corner of the end zone. But it's that subtle lean there at the top where he's stemming the defender inside slightly just to freeze him for a half second, right about there where he does that lean to the inside. Now it's incredibly hard for that kid to try and keep up when he breaks to the corner. I mean, one of my favorite routes from this last year that we had, and that kid's a heck of a player. All right, excuse my slide here. It got messed up when I transitioned it into huddle. All right, blocking. Talked about blocking being one of the things I like to hang my hat on as a wide receivers coach, because I want those guys to be physical on the perimeter, but mainly to be unselfish for the guys who are coming in behind them, whether it be a running back, tight end, quarterback, whoever it is. All right, so our general rules, we're going to be patient. We're going to see rotation or pressure, and then we're going to adjust. All right, and then we're going to be physical. We are going to be the aggressors on the perimeter. If we're not, I'm not doing my job. All right, then the technique. All right, we must have a base. All right, you've got to A, come to balance, and B, have to give yourself a base when you come to balance to be able to react off of that defender, whether it being an alley defender or a corner or a most dangerous corner to safety. All right, we have to be patient and let that thing develop and get a base underneath us. All right, our pad level must be low. If we're, again, standing straight up and down, this really limits my movement laterally to be able to adjust to someone who's flying out to, say, a swing screen to the flat. All right, I want my elbows in tight. All right, I don't want none of this. A lot of times when we first get into blocking and we get freshman day one, we get guys who are kind of in here and loose, and they're just trying to go through the motions. We want to suck those elbows in tight. All right, nice and tight. All right, my thumbs are pointed up so I can steer and I can control that guy, and it needs to be an aggressive punch. Right, I'm not just placing my hands; it's an aggressive pop. I'm popping it right into his breastplate. I'm letting him know I'm there, and I'm giving him the business. And then must have the ability to refit. And we'll see a clip on this here in a second. All right, we do this drill, and I couldn't find any film of the drill where it's a refit drill, where we're refitting. He's got inside leverage on my hands, and we're fighting with him. All right, and all of a sudden I need to refit my hands. I've seen a lot of things where guys, double swipe up and down or this, that, and the other. I didn't like that because then that loses the leverage we've already worked to win. So I like those guys to reset their hands one at a time. All right. So they'll reset one, and as they reset the second one, they're bringing their hips, and it's almost as if it's a second pop. All right. So I'm firing the first one in there. I still got the other one on. I get the first one set. I bring the other, and as I bring the other, boom, I bring my hips with it. Kind of that second pop to let him know, listen, I'm still the aggressor. I'm still here. We're still going to figure this out. All right. So a couple good clips of our guys blocking on the perimeter. Here it is against Curry. So we're taking a look at our two guys up here at the top of the screen, our slot, and our play side number one. Oh, excuse me. So we got corner off at about 10, 12 yards. We got a safety in the middle of the field. His responsibility is most dangerous. He's looking corner to safety, whoever triggers first. If it's close, we're going to take the safety. We think that safety is going to be the better tackler in space. We'll let a corner go one-on-one with a back in space, but we'll take the better tackler in this situation. All right. And then the number two is responsible for my right here. All right. So Ryan Gabry, who's in my slot, does a great job eating up the cushion. Now, boom, he's eaten up enough cushion. Now he's come to balance. He's in a position to where as soon as that kid triggers, he can adjust off of it and go make a successful block. He gives himself a base. That kid triggers to his outside shoulder. So now he's got to try and re-win the leverage again. All right. He does a great job of that. They're getting physical. Gabry's working with him to the sideline. All right. And it eventually gives our running back a two-way go to have to come back inside and find some space. Now the same deal, our number one receiver, Brett Miller, is taking up almost all the space. That safety drops out. The corner is the first one to trigger. So he's going to go get physical on the corner. All right. He puts his hands in there. He's starting to drive. He's getting that kid to the sideline, and he gets himself in a good position to where if we squirted that thing down the sideline, we're in good shape with another block set up. All right. Here it is again. All right. Similar concept. We're throwing a swing screen here to the field. All right. So again, I'm most dangerous from number one. All right. So my corner right now is my most dangerous. My alley defender is in a position for the number two to go get him. All right. Let's take a look again. Gabry comes off the ball. Boom. As soon as he's eaten up a good amount of that cushion, he's instantly in a position where he's come to balance. He is ready for that kid to trigger inside or out. All right. That kid continues to fight over the top. Now he fits and regains the leverage. So now he's got the leverage on that kid again. All right. Our motto on that is we're trying to win it. And then all of a sudden last second, we realize we just can't win it. Now go take him to the sideline. Now go put him on the bench where he belongs. All right. So he does a great job coming to balance, firing his hands, regaining the leverage. Now my number one does an even better job. All right. He pancakes his corner. All right. He eats up all the cushion. All right. Gets physical with the kid, puts him on his back, lets him know he's there, and he's forcing his will on him into the ground. All right. Now the best part about this is now he looks for a second block. Gets just enough of the safety. So now we slip this thing down the sideline for a 50, 60-yard gain. All right. So for in these situations, all we're trying to do is we're trying to eat up the cushion, come to balance, and react off what happens in front of us. All right. And then this is a good clip. If you look at number 12 down here at the bottom of the screen, he gets thrown off late, but this is a really good clip of the fit and refit in live action. All right. Sorry, film's taking a little forever. Come on, Brian, snap the ball. All right, so now he eats up most of the distance. All right, he comes to balance. He's given himself a base right now. He's worked off the first reaction. All right, now he gets fit. He puts his hands, fires his hands. He's fit, but he's not in a good position. That DB is up underneath him. All right, one fit, two fit. So he refits his hands off of the initial strike. All right. So he fits his hands over top of where the DB is. The DB beats him on the pad level. Well, Brett thinks, you know what? This isn't over. All right. I got a chance to refit my hands. He brings the outside first. Boom. Then he brings the second one with a pop, and he gets himself in a good position to continue the block. So that's a lot of what we're looking for. One at a time, patient, physical, making sure that I can get the inside leverage on him. All right. And then ball security. All right. Ball security is incredibly important in every phase of the game. This last couple of weeks, we've been going through in Zoom meetings with our guys, talking situational football and installs and things like that. And I think in just about every slide of the situational football, ball security shows up in one way, shape, or form. All right. At the end of the day, you need to protect the football or you don't play. If you can't protect the football, it doesn't matter if you're catching it and run it for 80 yards down the field. If you're fumbling the ball every third time you touch it, you're probably not going to be on the field. All right, so we want to have our 6 points of pressure. All right, number one, we want to start with the eagle claw. So we want the tip of the ball in between our index and middle finger, squeezing the ball to our hand as if we're trying to make a fist. All right, so boom, right in between those two fingers. All right, number two, my palm. I want to grip the ball with my palm to where there should be no air in between. All right, no air in between in that little part of your hand right there. All right, number three, the forearm. All right, we want to support the bottom of the ball with the inside of your forearm and squeeze that thing to our chest. All right, so we're 1, 2, 3. We got 3 points of pressure so far. All right, number four, the bicep. All right, we want to tuck the bottom of the ball against the inside of our bicep and apply pressure as you compress it to your chest. All right, so the bottom nub of that ball should be right there on the inside of your bicep, and I'm squeezing that thing to my chest with my other 3 points of pressure. All right, my rib cage. All right, the ball should be naturally pressed against your rib cage after you followed the first 4 points of pressure. So I've got it in between my index and my middle. I've got it in my palm with no air in between. It's on the inside of my forearm. All right, the bottom of the ball's tucked inside my bicep. Now I'm compressing these things all against my rib cage. So essentially, if you're going to hold the ball with one hand, there's 5 points of pressure. Now the sixth one comes in with my offhand. And I've tossed around since I've been coaching guys who carry the ball. I've tossed around with the changing of the position of the football when we get in and out of traffic. All right, so my offhand. So I've got my first 5 points of pressure. Instead of when I get in traffic or I'm coming into a crowded area, instead of rotating the ball and coming over the top old school like we do, what we do is we take our offhand and we grab it right below my wrist, all right, and I add my 6th point of pressure, all right. So now I'm squeezing with this arm. I've got my 5 points here. I'm bringing the offhand as a 6th, and now I'm compressing it to my hand. The reason I like this more than changing is because, you're in traffic. There's guys punching at the football. I don't like the change of where the football is, in your grasp, I guess is the way to put it. I don't like how much movement there is there. So if we can keep things consistent and essentially hold the ball exactly how we do with one hand, with two, with bringing the offhand for a little bit more support, beautiful. That's how we want to do it. I don't want a whole lot of movement of the ball as I'm coming in and out of traffic and things like that. All right. And then the 2 notes there at the bottom of the screen, when we're not in traffic, the ball should be switched to the boundary side arm. All right. Now, I've heard guys say at the 3rd level or once you get outside the box, it's a judgment call. But if there's even a hint of you think there's traffic around you, do not change that football. All right. Keep it consistent. All right. And then once you know that you've got a secure amount of time to move it to the boundary side arm, go ahead and do it. And then the other note is that I have there is in the 4-minute offense, okay? We want 2 hands on the ball at all times. So every time you're touching the football, we've got 2 hands on that thing securing it. Whether it's a 4-minute situation where we're trying to milk the clock, all right, towards the end of the game, and we don't want them to get an extra couple points here and there, or we need to hold them from getting a field goal or a touchdown. We need to be able to protect the football and methodically march that thing down the field. And turnovers just aren't going to be beneficial for us in that situation. All right, so here's a couple of the ball security drills that we run on a daily basis. Usually about 3 times a week, we come into some kind of ball security or circuit of such. All right, so this is one where we'll have 2 bags at the front and 2 guys with these crayons on at the back. All right, so the first 2 bags are just your initial blow. All right, you're taking a nice shot. You're catching it from the quarterback, tucking that thing into a secure place, and you're getting that initial pop. Then you've got the 2 guys behind with the crayons on their hand who are full on Mayweather and trying to Mayweather that ball out of your possession. All right, and myself and Coach Vile got pretty banged up doing some of this year, breaking fingers and such. But I mean, we're giving shots. This is no joke of a drill. All right, so as we come through here and we get this thing started, we're catching it, we're tucking it. Now the ball should be out. Oh, excuse me. Get this up to speed here. All right, we're catching it, we're tucking it, we're getting the initial blow, we're getting some contact on the ball. All right, and me and Coach Vile, we're truly trying to get those things out of there. We take pride in those fumbles that we force in practice every day. All right, so this is something we'll run through one way, we'll run through the other, and then we'll hop into a skelly period or go into the next ball security drill. So then here's the second one that we like to run on a daily basis. Similar deal, it's a sideline drill. Our first guy is just the initial contact. Then we got a second guy who's clubbing at the ball. We've got a bag who's wobbling and hitting you from the side. And then we've got a second guy with a boxing glove or a crayon on his hand who's trying to impact the ball. All right. So we're just trying to put our guys in different situations to where they're seeing, whether it's bags or boxing gloves or whatever, coming at that ball from all different angles. You never know where the tackler is going to be coming from, who's going to be stripping, how many guys are going to be in on the gang tackle. So we need to make these drills as elaborate as possible to be able to withstand and not get rid of the football and not put the football on the ground, I should say. All right, and that's pretty much what I've got for you guys today, just kind of the base fundamentals that we teach our wide receivers. If you've got any questions, we'll open it up now, but that's my cell phone number and my email. Happy to answer any of your questions at any point. I've got a whole lot going on right now, so we got a little bit extra time to do some of these professional development things. So, but thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time, man. If you guys want to turn on your mics and cameras and get some questions in with Coach, come on in.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
I got a quick question for you, Coach.
Sure.
I teach my DBs when they're locked in on the receivers, especially in man-to-man coverage. Look at the receiver's basically face and specifically his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of the times when the ball's coming in, you'll see that receiver, light up as that ball's getting ready to come in, and that's a trigger point to kind of turn and play the ball. You guys do any type of teaching to not give that away, or?
Yeah, one thing that we show, and I thought I was going to put it in here, and I guess I didn't, was we're going to show our hands as late as possible. All right. So facial expression, I don't know if there's actually anything you can do about a facial expression, but we try to show our hands as late as possible. So on that corner, I'm not just going to be sitting out there like this. I'm going to show my hands as late as possible, the back shoulder fade, late as possible, boom, and stick the ball. But facial expression, I haven't dove a whole lot into that. But yeah, I don't know if there's much you can do about a guy's facial expression when the ball's coming. He's hungry to catch that thing.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Thank you. I like that point on the hands, though. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Coach, quick question on how you teach your routes. Are you guys yardage or steps?
Yardage. I've seen a lot of guys who really like steps. Here's why I don't like steps. We've got two different types of guys who play outside receiver for us. We got one who's a 5'6" kid who's shifty, and another kid who's 6'2". So to be able to try and time the steps out for individual guys, I find that a little bit difficult. We've got a group of 20 receivers, so it would take a lot of extra time to try and do a lot of stuff like that. So we just go strictly off yardage.
Okay.
Anybody else? Questions for Coach? They got anything?
Yeah, Coach, you guys run a lot of option routes, and if you do run option routes, how are you introducing a freshman into options?
Are you talking like vertical pass game, or are you talking like short underneath choice stuff?
Like vertical pass game, guy gets stacked or he gets capped. Are you cutting it off? You bringing it back, and how are you going to explain that to a freshman?
So we're limiting the options that he has. So the most that he'll have on any one play is 2 options. So like, for example, on our vertical pass game, if he's got a fade, but he's got a zone turn corner who's got his eyes to the middle of the field, he's shutting it down to the comeback. Now, at the same level and running with him, he's just going to continue on his vertical and run past him. Now, same deal. If it's a vertical in the middle of the field and we call it a bender, if he's capped, he's going to split the difference between the safeties in the middle of the field. But if he's not capped, he's going to continue piping down his +2. So we don't put a whole lot in their head as far as option routes. We don't give them many choices. It's either one or the other.
Gotcha.
Anybody else? Okay, nothing. Coach Soren, how's it going over there?
You're muted, Coach.
Oh, let me get you.
Sorry, that's good. I missed a few, but it's good to be back in.
I was gonna say I hadn't seen you in a while.
What's that?
I hadn't seen you in a while.
I've been busy and then I forgot, but I was like, I'll get on this wide receiver one. So.
Well, I hope I helped you out a little bit.
Yeah, it was good. You guys use double moves very much? I missed the first few minutes, so I don't know if I missed anything.
Yeah, not a whole lot. We got maybe 2 or 3, and they're designed like play action shots. Like one that we scored on against Curry a couple of years ago was just the sluggo, the 1x3 sluggo. Or we'll go out and up. But we don't do a ton of double moves. There's one that I'm trying to convince Coach Vile to go to, that we're actually taking a look at some NFL tape where he sells the post and all of a sudden whips it back to the speed. I don't know if we've got the speed to do that, but it's sure worth taking a look at, because it's a lot to tell that corner, hey, you got to try and go defend the post and then try and adjust back out to the speed out. Like, good luck. So that's one that I hope that we can do in the future, but we don't do a ton of it. No, sir.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, Coach, I might have missed it at the beginning too. What do you do in terms of stance? Are you guys like outside foot up, inside foot out, whatever's comfortable?
Inside. For the most part, I'm go with what's comfortable. But that's the one thing that I set. Put the inside foot up, be consistent.
Awesome. Do you guys see a lot of press coverage?
Not a ton. Our defense runs a lot of press bail, so we see a lot of press bail in camp and in the spring. But the most press coverage I think we've seen, like I said, was 2 years ago against Husson when they had those 2 studs playing corner. We had a hard time getting off the line, but we don't see a whole lot of true press coverage.
Cool.
If any, like I'd single receiver or something like that.
That's funny too, because that league was I was up at Husson in 2017, and almost everybody was playing press man back then. It was I was a receivers coach up there, and we had to work press release, more than anything because of what we saw every week.
Yeah, and I'm glad Husson got rid of those 2 guys, because that caused a problem for us that year. Like, we were having a hard time on the outsides getting off the ball, and it was like quarterback sitting there wanting to throw it. Those guys are still getting beat up 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. So I'm sure it's something that we definitely need a lot of work in, just because we don't see a whole lot of it.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, Coach. Thanks for coming on, man. Good
Yeah,
talk.
thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good job.
All right, folks, take care. We'll be back on at 4:30 with Coach Capone. He's on his way down the en route to Portland right now, so he can have Coach McLeod hook him up and get ready to go. And then I don't know if you guys saw, but tonight the strength coach from the University of Georgia is going to be on, which should be pretty cool. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he and I played college ball together, so hopefully that'll be a good one.
How long has he been at Georgia, Coach?
I'm pretty sure he was at Marshall before that. I think I want to say 3 years ago he switched over. He's also the get back coach. There's a lot of if you go search for an image for him last night to put